Good morning and welcome to the South Carolina Public Service Commission. It is Monday, November 17th, 2025 at approximately 9:30 a.m. And we are here today in the docket 2025-172E concerning Duke Energy Carolina LLC request for rate increases and changes to be outlined through the case. First of all commissioners are present in the hearing room. Ms. Wester Hill, for those who have not joined us in the past, would you please give a brief summary of the case?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. As the chairman has just mentioned, this is the proceeding in docket number 2025-172E. It concerns the application filed by Duke Energy Carolinas LLC on July the 1st, 2025, seeking an increase in electric rates, adjustment in electric schedules, tariffs, and a request for an accounting order. This is a continuation or resumption of the hearing that has been previously began last Thursday on November 13th. And this is the part of the hearing where the parties of record present testimony and evidence concerning their respective positions. Mr. Chairman, upon inquiry of all parties of counsel of record, we do have a preliminary matter to address as soon as you call the appearances of counsel. Otherwise, the docket is ready.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. We will now take appearance parties, starting with the company.
Good morning, Chair Powers, Vice Chair Williams, members of the Commission. My name is Kamal Robinson, appearing on behalf of Duke Energy Carolinas, LLC. With me here today is also Sam Wellborn, also appearing on behalf of Duke Energy Carolinas, LLC. With us today are Ashley Cooper of Baker Donaldson, Nanette Edwards of Burr Foreman, and Lyle Trawick of Robinson Gray. Chair Powers, I note that I've been admitted pro hoc vice in this proceeding. In addition, I'd like to also introduce Erica Green and Allison Williams, who will be ensuring that handouts, materials, and other matters are provided to the court reporter, the commission, and the parties. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Seba, we'll just go around the room.
Good morning, Chair Powers. Kate Mixon for South Carolina Coastal Conservation League, Southern Alliance for Clean Energy, Upstate Forever, and Vote Solar. And my co-counsel, Thomas Gooding, is appearing virtually.
All right. Welcome to both of you. And Walmart.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Stephanie Eaton. I'm here on behalf of Walmart, Inc. Thank you.
All right. And Consumer Affairs.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. Roger Hall with the department. Also here today is our Administrator and Consumer Advocate, Carrie Gruby-Leibarker, and Jake Edwards should be joining us in a little while. Thank you.
All right. The South Carolina Small Business Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning, Commissioner. My name is Nick Callis. I'm here on behalf of the South Carolina Small Business Chamber of Commerce. CEO Frank Knapp is also present.
All right. Thank you very much. South Carolina Energy Users Committee. Are they virtual?
Mr. Chairman, this is Scott Elliott. I'm here virtually on behalf of the Energy Users Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Sierra Club.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Robert Guild. With me virtually is Joshua Berman with the Sierra Club's Environmental Law Program.
Thank you very much. Last but not least, Office of Regulatory Staff.
Good morning, Chair Powers. Donna Rainey on behalf of ORS, and with me today is Chad Torrey, Claire Binge, Stig Rasmussen, and Tom Philopoulos. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. As far as the preliminary matters, Mr. Robinson, are you in charge of that?
Yes, sir.
Don't forget to turn your mic. I did. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. On behalf of Duke Energy Carolinas, I'm proud to present a comprehensive settlement for your consideration. In total, the parties are presenting 3 stipulations that resolve all issues in this case. Each party is either a signatory, does not object to, or takes no position on the three stipulations. I first want to thank the Commission and Commission staff for their patience, flexibility, and timely guidance throughout this proceeding. This ensured all parties remained well-informed and able to plan accordingly as we work towards a comprehensive resolution. We recognize this has been a particularly active regulatory season, and we appreciate the Commission's multiple accommodations. Once again, the parties committed the time and effort to resolve complex, highly contested, fully litigated, and sincerely disputed issues. As was true in the DEP rate case, this was not a simple task, and no party received everything that they wanted. But that spirit of compromise is exactly what makes this outcome meaningful. With that, at this time, the company respectfully moves to mark for identification the comprehensive settlement through three stipulations, along with Exhibit A to the revenue requirement stipulation, filed on November 11, 2025, and move them into the record as the Commission's next composite hearing exhibit.
All right, so that would mark for identification and place in the record as exhibit number 9.
Thank you. And Chair Powers, each stipulation includes a provision where all parties agree to stipulate into the record, without cross-examination, the testimony and exhibits of all witnesses who filed testimony in this case. The stipulations identify each witness by party and the types of testimony each witness filed. Therefore, at the appropriate time, the company will propose to mark for identification and enter its testimony and exhibits identified into the record as if given orally from the stand. At the chair's direction, the company has also has signed and notarized verifications for each of our witnesses who will not appear before you today.
All right. Okay. With this many parties, I'm going to kind of do the opposite of asking each of you a question, but to all of you, if there's any objection, is anybody who still does not agree as been set out by Mr. Robinson? Is there any party that feels aggrieved or didn't have sufficient time to review and prepare when entering these stipulations? Hearing none, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. And if it pleases the Commission, at the appropriate time, the company will have a few remarks on the settlement.
All right. It's my understanding that Office Regulatory staff would also like to be heard at this time.
Yes, Chair Powers. Good morning, Chair Powers, Vice Chair Williams, and members of the Commission. ORS is a signatory to the revenue requirement stipulation and takes no position on the EEDSM and large load stipulations. ORS has a statutory duty to serve as a facilitator or otherwise act directly or indirectly to resolve disputes and issues involving matters in the jurisdiction of the Commission. Act 41 now requires ORS, in the context of settlement negotiations, to consider any applicable requirement set out for the Commission pursuant to South Carolina Code 58-3-140. Just a second.
Take your time.
Section 58-3-140 includes obligation of the Commission to supervise and to regulate the rates and services of every public utility in the state and to fix just and reasonable standards of every public utility. To fix just and reasonable standards, classifications, regulations, practices, and measurements of service. While I can't discuss confidential settlement discussion, I can indicate ORS sought and fulfilled its statutory obligation. ORS worked with the parties, resolved issues in this case. By evaluating whether the revenue requirement stipulation results in just and reasonable rates and standards. I will say that no one factor was necessarily determinative. but rather the revenue requirement stipulation must be considered in total. When considering the factors and the totality of the circumstance, ORS concludes this stipulation is reasonable and in the public interest. Accordingly, ORS requests Commission approval of the revenue requirement stipulation as presented. Thank you.
If you say that in that particular E thing that you take no position, but you do not object, is that correct?
That is correct. ORS does not object to the EEDSM and large load
All right.
stipulations.
And I think this is the first time we've really had to, or this has come up on the record, that section in Act 41, it puts ORS in a little bit, not only doing what you normally do, but puts you in kind of a position of a mediator too. And I appreciate the job y'all are. That's a hard job to do, both to advance a position and make sure everybody else is following what the commission would have to rule on. Let me just commend you and say good job on that.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson, did you have more remarks before we begin? Something else you want to say?
Yes, Chair, just a minute or two.
All right. Does any other party want to be heard before we begin testimony? Speak now, forever hold your peace. All right. Mr. Robinson, present your case.
Thank you, Chair. First I want to thank the parties, both personally and on behalf of the company, for their collaboration and compromise. This rate case presented complex issues, made even more dynamic as one of the first to follow the enactment of the South Carolina Energy Security Act. The record reflects the depth and breadth of this case. About 40 witnesses, multiple rounds of voluminous testimony, and thousands of data requests. Therefore, these stipulations are the result of a full and detailed exploration of every element of DEC's request and application. While I cannot discuss the details of the confidential negotiations, I can say with confidence that it is with this well-informed view by all parties that we decided to engage with each other to evaluate whether a compromised resolution could occur. And that shared understanding made resolution possible. So now I want to briefly turn to some key features of the stipulations. Again, they resolve all disputed issues, including but not limited to the company's base rate revenue increase, ROE, capital structure, employee compensation and other benefits, cost allocation, cash working capital, rate case expenses, depreciation expense, bad debt expense, new large load, and potential enhancements to our EEDSM portfolio. The comprehensive settlement framework also includes two provisions that the Commission could not adopt in this case absent a settlement. A $1.5 million shareholder contribution to provide support to residential customers over 2 years, and the establishment of a production tax credit rider to return generation tax credits over time, which will flow back an initial $100 million of benefits through January 2028. Together, these riders significantly impact customer impacts. When combined with the significant revenue requirement reduction achieved through the stipulations, the average rate increase is approximately 1%. And for a typical residential customer, the result is a net bill increase of 84 cents per month, or 0.6%. And just as important, the settlement provides a path for the company to continue investing appropriately in electric facilities and maintaining safe, reliable, and high-quality electric service. We believe that is squarely in the public interest, and we believe the adoption of the settlement will help ensure the company can attract capital on reasonable terms to support those obligations. It is meaningful when all parties heavily invested in evaluating every aspect of the company's proposal come together and present a settlement that covers all issues in this case. The company looks forward to presenting Tim Pearson, Jacob Colley, Kendra Ward, Jonathan Bird, Michael Callahan, Jim Coyne, and Heather Shirley Smith in support of the stipulations. We will also offer any other witness the Commission wishes to hear from. As our witnesses will demonstrate, substantial evidence in the record will overwhelmingly show the terms of the three stipulations are just, reasonable, and in the public interest. Therefore, the company respectfully asks the Commission to adopt the three stipulations in full. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. One other thing, just for the record, Mr. Torini, you're here as well for the Energy Users Committee, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Elliott has already spoken virtually. Thank you. All right, sir. You may proceed.
Thank you, Chair. At this time, the company calls Mr. Tim Pearson and Mr. Jacob Colley to the stand.
Yes, sir, Mr. Callis. All right.
We would ask to be excused from the remainder of the hearing since we accept the stipulations as provided.
All right, sir. And you're welcome to stay as long as you like. Leave when you're ready.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Pearson, if you'll raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Colley, if you'll raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll begin with Mr. Pearson. Mr. Pearson, good morning.
Good morning.
Please state your name and your business address for the record.
My name is Tim Pearson, and my business address is 1201 Main Street, Columbia, South Carolina, 29201.
And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by Duke Energy Corporation as South Carolina president for Duke Energy Carolinas, LLC, and Duke Energy Progress, LLC.
Mr. Pearson, did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision direct testimony consisting of 19 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on July 1st, 2025 in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed direct testimony?
No.
If I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Did you pre-file any exhibits in conjunction with your direct testimony?
No.
Mr. Pearson, did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision rebuttal testimony consisting of 19 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on October 27th, 2025 in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed direct rebuttal testimony?
No.
Excuse me. If I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
And did you pre-file any exhibits in conjunction with your rebuttal testimony?
No.
Mr. Pearson, did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision settlement testimony consisting of 8 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on November 12th, 2025 in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed settlement testimony?
No.
And if I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Chair Powers, at this time, I move that Mr. Pearson's pre-filed direct, rebuttal, and settlement testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed direct, rebuttal, and settlement testimony of Mr. Pearson will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you. I'll move to Mr. Colley. Mr. Colley, good morning.
Good morning.
Please state your name and your business address for the record, please.
My name is Jacob Colley. My business address is 525 South Tryon Street, Charlotte, North Carolina.
And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by Duke Energy Carolinas, LLC as Director of Customer Regulatory Planning, Support, and Compliance.
Mr. Colley, did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision direct testimony consisting of 30 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on July 1st, 2025 in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed direct testimony?
No.
And if I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Mr. Colley, did you pre-file any exhibits in conjunction with your direct testimony?
No.
Mr. Colley, did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision rebuttal testimony consisting of 9 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on October 27, 2025 in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed rebuttal testimony?
No.
If I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
And did you pre-file any exhibits in conjunction with your rebuttal testimony?
No.
Mr. Colley, did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision settlement testimony consisting of 6 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on November 12, 2025 in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed settlement testimony?
No.
And if I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Chair Powers, at this time, I move that Mr. Colley's direct, rebuttal, and settlement testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed direct, rebuttal, and settlement testimony of Mr. Colley will be entered in the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you. Mr. Pearson, have you prepared a summary of your testimony?
Yes.
Mr. Colley, have you?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Pearson, would you please deliver your testimony, or please settlement summary testimony first, please?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Chairman Powers, Vice Chair Williams, and members of the Commission. In my direct testimony, I explained why the company's requested rate adjustment is reasonable, necessary, and aligned with South Carolina's energy needs, policy direction, and continued economic growth. I also provide context for the company's investments, describe our focus on reliability, operational excellence, and affordability, and introduce the other company witnesses. I began by addressing why now is the appropriate time to bring this case. The investments driving this request, investments necessary to build, maintain, and enhance generation, strengthen and modernize the grid, and ensure continued system reliability, are already in service and benefiting our customers. Filing now helps us to align cost recovery with actual investments, mitigates the magnitude of rate increases due to accumulation of costs, and ensures the company is on sound financial footing as it continues to support South Carolina's continued growth and prosperity. I discussed the company's priorities and performance. Our request is anchored in 3 priorities: investing in what matters to our customers, maintaining operational excellence, and better matching cost recovery to our investments. We have focused on reliability improvements across the transmission and distribution systems and have made prudent investments in our generation facilities, all with a focus on operational discipline and careful management of our operations and maintenance expenses. I provide an overview of why maintaining a strong financial position benefits customers. In a capital-intensive business like ours, access to capital on reasonable terms is crucial and helps lower long-term costs to our customers. We've also taken steps to manage customer costs to help support affordability. We have limited our deferral requests and narrowed the scope of this proceeding to reduce overall legal and regulatory expenses for the benefit of our customers. I also touched on the fact that our energy efficiency and demand response programs continue to deliver customer savings, including targeted offerings for income-qualified customers. Throughout my direct testimony, I highlighted the company's role as a partner to South Carolina's communities and to its economy. Our focus is on safe, reliable service, responsiveness, and engagement with our customers. Since our last case, Duke Energy has supported billions in capital investment and thousands of new jobs in our state, and the investments in this case are part of the fabric necessary to sustain that growth. Since the time I filed direct testimony, we have had a chance to hear from customers through the public hearing process and through comments filed in this docket. Like each of you, I attended those hearings, and they were very meaningful. Since my direct testimony was filed, we also gained a better understanding of the positions of the other parties through their testimony filed in this proceeding. Although I filed rebuttal testimony on October 27, 2025, the issues I addressed are now resolved through the 3 stipulations filed in this proceeding. In my settlement testimony, I support all 3 stipulations: the revenue requirement stipulation, the EDSM stipulation, and the large load stipulation. I explain how each stipulation reflects meaningful compromise amongst diverse parties and strikes an appropriate balance between customer affordability and the company's continued ability to meet the energy needs of the state. I explain that the stipulations reduce the revenue requirement from our original request, include the creation of the production tax credit and care riders to mitigate rate impacts, and provide paths to collaborate with parties on enhancing our energy efficiency and demand-side management portfolio, and to open a generic docket to hear from stakeholders on matters pertaining to large load. At the same time, the revenue requirement stipulation preserves the company's financial stability necessary to support continued investments in the state, consistent with the state's goals and the company's obligation to provide safe and reliable service to our customers. I note that every party to this proceeding either supports, does not oppose, or takes no position on the terms of the stipulation. Also, as I stated in my settlement testimony, While the stipulations do not resolve every single issue in a single comprehensive document, taken together, they reflect a comprehensive compromise. I sincerely thank the parties for working in earnest to present a constructive resolution of all issues in this proceeding before the Commission. For these reasons, I believe the stipulations are in the public interest, and I respectfully request that the Commission approve them. This concludes the summary of my pre-filed direct and settlement testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson. Mr. Colley?
Good morning, Chairman Powers and members of the Commission. In my direct testimony, I explained how the company is improving the customer experience by strengthening service channels, expanding digital tools, supporting vulnerable customers, and engaging in clear and timely communications, especially during storms, so that we remain accessible to our customers and responsive to their needs. I began by describing our customer service operations. I then described the range of programs, products, communications, and solutions to meet the needs of our diverse customer base. We provide multiple billing and payment options, a robust portfolio of energy efficiency and demand response programs, and voluntary renewable offerings that support customer sustainability goals. I also focused on the work that we do to support our vulnerable customers. Our agency team serves as a one-stop shop designed exclusively for utility assistance agencies that have questions or need support, and has supported thousands of calls to help our customers access energy assistance funding. We also connect qualifying customers with resources that can provide bill assistance, including the company's Share the Light Fund and other assistance programs. In addition, our South Carolina Community Relations team provides face-to-face interactions with customers through community events such as pop-ups, power hours, and science nights, giving customers direct access to company representatives in their own communities. I then explain how we measure and improve customer satisfaction through surveys, national benchmarks, and real-time feedback. Lastly, I discussed our response to Hurricane Helene, including our restoration efforts, customer communications, and lessons learned. While I filed rebuttal testimony on October 27, 2025, the issues I've raised have been resolved in the revenue requirement stipulation. On October 31st, I filed a letter informing the Commission about the company's efforts to engage with and assist 23 customers who attended the public hearings, 18 of whom offered testimony in Spartanburg, Anderson, Greenville, and Greenwood. I described how the company representatives followed up on individual concerns and resolved customer issues. In my settlement testimony, I support the EEDSM stipulation and the revenue requirement stipulation. I explained that the EEDSM stipulation reflects a collaborative effort to strengthen the company's energy efficiency and demand side management programs. This includes a new review of the company's EEDSM portfolio under Act 41, a commitment to explore additional distributed energy resource programs, and good faith collaboration to expand weatherization offerings, particularly for customers who may not meet traditional income qualifications. Also support the revenue requirement stipulation as it relates to customer billing. Specifically, I describe how the company will itemize rider charges that were previously grouped under the summary of rider adjustments line item on customer bills. I explained the company will continue to retain flexibility over bill design, but customers will see individual rider and associated charge clearly displayed following the resolution of the company's proposed business combination. I conclude that the stipulations are constructive resolution of all issues in this proceeding and are in the public interest. I respectfully request that the Commission approve them. This concludes the summary of my pre-filed direct and settlement testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Colley. Chair Powers, at this time, Mr. Pearson and Mr. Colley are available for questions by the Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson, and thank you, gentlemen. Any Commissioner questions? Commissioner Williams.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Chair Powers. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the effort that has gone into this. Mr. Pearson, I'll just express that in this circumstance with stipulations, I wasn't quite as ready to ask my questions as I expected to be. But In your rebuttal, you talk about the ERSA, and there's some testimony in this case that talks about that providing a less risky scenario. Would you address that? And I wondered in particular if the credit rating folks have started to look at that and what that kind of response is.
Sure.
Stop at that point.
I'm happy to. I will say I think that when it comes to the credit agencies, Mr. Callahan may be better positioned to answer that question for you. But when I look at the Electric Rate Stabilization Act, or the RSA, as we call it, first I would start by just on the record, we have not made a decision as a company as to whether or not that's something that we will pursue, in the coming years. I think it's a useful tool in order to help lower costs for our customers and also to help us recover costs more quickly. So it helps us keep investing back into the system. But we don't know what the outcome of this case will be, and those are very important components of the inputs we put in to see if it makes sense. So I'd start there. Secondly, when I think about the RSA, what it does is it helps us recover our costs more timely and decreases the regulatory lag that exists, which accumulates interest expenses and other things, which slows our ability to reinvest, but also increases costs for customers. So when I think back to the conversation at the General Assembly and when this was being discussed, that kind of twofold benefit helps us do more to invest, which is what they were trying to encourage us to do, and also help lower costs for those investments for the customers, I think is what really sold them on it. But it is different than some of the other modernized regulatory mechanism that exists in states around us, because it's backwards looking still. So it's the same paradigm that we have now. It's just something that doesn't require a full rate case in order to do to recover those costs. So it's not something like in North Carolina where they have a multi-year rate plan, which is looking forward. So there still is some regulatory lag. We still are recovering costs for things that we've already spent and put into service. So it's a little bit different. And then just broadly, I would look at, I think there was some testimony from, I believe, the Department of Defense in the DEP case. They produced a map that came from Standard & Poor. And S&P, this wasn't our map, but it kind of looked at a map and I think it was titled something like Regulatory Constructiveness for Utilities. And that was a very familiar map to me because it was one that was a great topic of conversation with the General Assembly. And South Carolina existed as almost a donut hole, and not just one step behind the states around us, but in some places two, or even three. And I think that was, it kind of crystallized for folks in the General Assembly where we were and how that might need to shift in order for them to get where we needed to go. And so I appreciate the conversation around, does the RSA provide benefit? Yes. But in my view, the idea that benefit should come along with it a corresponding decrease in some other things so that we would stay where we were. This is the entire point of the exercise that happened over at the General Assembly, which was they didn't want us to stay where we were, right? And so for me, that's kind of how I think about it. I think it's beneficial, certainly to the utilities. It helps us to continue to invest. It's beneficial for our customers, but it's not something that kind of erases the risk that exists for us.
Thank you. Mr. Coley, you probably expected these questions. At least some of them. I looked for your letter, and I was just getting ready to look for your letter, but do make sure that October letter is in DMS, because the October 30th letter, I'm sure it's there. You testified that it was, but I'm just telling you, I looked forward to I knew that letter should come, and I searched for it a few times, and so let's just make sure it is filed with DMS.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's my error, but I look forward to reading that and remembering that testimony, and so just wanted to mention that. Do you have a sense as to how many letters of protest comments we received from customers in this hearing?
Yes, we received a number of comments. I believe it's around 50 of letters of comment that came into the docket.
And do you have any sense as to how that compares with past rate cases?
I don't have a sense of comparison. I think it speaks to the platforms that were provided to our customers and our some non-customers that would submit letters around the ability for them to give input on the proceeding, on what was in the case, similar to what we heard throughout the public hearings where customers would testify or participate in the in-person hearings. From reading those letters, a similar sentiment came across, and we worked to address those customers that were in person, and every customer that we could locate as a customer for Duke Energy Carolinas that submitted letters of protest or letters of comment into the docket, we responded with a corresponding letter outlining the support offerings or programs that we may have available, similar to what we would have done verbally in person on site.
And as a result of that exchange, those letters that are filed on our DMS system and those persons who came and testified, there were, did the company come away with any recommendations for what we, the PSC, can do differently, what you all can do differently in terms of getting the word out? Do you feel comfortable with how widely it was understood or not understood that this rate case was happening?
I think we feel comfortable with how the process has worked. We, of course, communicate the in-person hearings to our customers through our bill insert process, which reaches all of our customers. And I think what we have learned from not just our bill inserts, but from our website that we have around our rate case proceeding, news media, press releases that the company has shared around the rate case proceeding, that information really cascaded into different environments, which is what we would like to see. Is we're one channel for our customers and one communication entity, but when we hear customers speaking that they heard about it in Facebook groups, heard about it in social media, heard about it through their news media, friends and family, it gave me comfort that the information is out there in our throughout our customer base, and we saw that with customers not only showing up, but with the number of comments that we got into the record. So I feel like customers had good avenues to communicate with us, but also to hear that information, not just from us as a company, but cascaded through the other ways that they consume their news or their information.
Mr. Coley, I think I've just gotten indication that letter is filed, and it was
That's good
totally
news.
my error.
That's good news.
I will look forward to reading it later on.
Thank you.
I'm going to shift gears and ask you some questions, and I know you'll tell me if I need to ask somebody else. But I'm thinking about the bill recovery, the number of people who are customers that have uncollectible bills. And you've got some testimony in that regard. ORS has some testimony in that regard. So first, what do you think plays the biggest role in customers not being able to pay their bills?
There's a lot of factors that may go into a customer, not paying their bill. Sometimes it's the customers need more means to be able to accommodate that. And fortunately, we have a number of programs that we either work with our local agencies or local partners for bill assistance, or even our internal program that offers bill assistance. Some of it is the larger arrearages that build up over the last several years, through some of the continuation of the flexibility that customers needed in the 2020-2021 timeframe stemming from the COVID pandemic. And as we worked with our customers to help them through providing that flexibility, it fortunately helped a lot of customers to dealing with hardships, but some it put them in a deeper hole that they've been unable to dig out of. And we work with them, work to direct them to agency support, work to get them into programs that may help them reduce their costs. But that's really what's continued to lead to those higher balances that have ultimately ended up sometimes in being bad debt expense, which is what we talked about in some testimony in this case.
That is very helpful and makes sense. There was some testimony about kind of revamping the your credit policies, and has that been in effect long enough to make a difference? And if so, what difference is that making?
So it's been a gradual change in how we went from, I'll say, a lot of flexibility in the year around the pandemic and really a year or so after, where we offered customers really the ability to restructure their installment plans if they were needed installment plans multiple times. And while many customers took advantage of that because they were experiencing really an unprecedented time in their lives and needed that to keep their service on, we realized that it was also doing some harm to customers in the sense of they were building up big balances that it's hard to dig out of when they get there. And so we, over the last several years, we began limiting or really tightening our policies to where that broad flexibility was still there when customers needed extra time, but started requiring them to pay more of and now we're at a point where we started with a down payment. You get one payment plan or two payment plans, and then you have to make a contribution to your balance to get another payment plan. We realized that needed to be tightened a little bit more, still providing customers flexibility, providing them options. But now we're at a point where over the last few months we've implemented where customers, they can get support, they can get up to, I think it's a 3 to 6 month time frame if they need additional installments. But if they default on that they'll need to pay their full balance to be eligible for their next payment plan. So they continue to get payment plans if they need them, but they have to cure their past due balance in order to be eligible further. So it really strikes that balance between understanding that deep past due balances are hard to dig out of, but also provides the flexibility should a hardship hit them, and gives it really strikes the balance, as I said, between big balances and flexibility when they need it.
And I'm struggling to remember the federal program that was in place during COVID to sort of help reimburse circumstances there. Did that exacerbate? Did that help? Does it have a role?
You mean some of the incremental funding for bill assistance?
Yes. Why do I? Is that CARE?
So there's a number of different COVID era, I'll call them, support efforts that really help customers in various ways. My understanding is that the different states did a little differently depending on how the funds came from Washington, D.C., and then states had a little bit of flexibility on how they wanted to implement them. South Carolina being one, used some of that for bill assistance, and we worked with customers to try to get as much of that bill assistance as possible.
Right.
Some of the COVID funding, of course, expired.
That's exactly what I was talking about, is the bill assistance.
Yeah, so very similar to what LIHEAP is today, but it was, right, I'll say, extra during COVID. And we certainly worked with our governmental partners and agencies to make sure customers that were eligible were able to know about those funds and take advantage of them as they could. Of course, that did help. there's always more need than aid available, as we all know. But we certainly worked with customers through that.
I think the clarity I was looking for and the way I'd summarize that is that bill assistance, that the circumstance you observed during that period and that's evident in Mr. Thompson's chart of the uncollectibles over a time period, that happened in addition to the bill assistance that was provided federally.
I think so. Yeah, there was extra bill assistance during COVID because we knew the need was more, which you can see that in the need of our customers through that chart that you're referencing.
Okay. How do DEC's policies with regard to bill assistance, not bill assistance, with uncollectibles in general relate to other utilities?
For DEC, we trend very similarly from some of the information that I have seen, and our peers across in North Carolina. The level of our bad debt to the kind of the size of the utility, I'll say, is trends very similarly.
And what about programs and responses, and in terms of the adjustments that you described earlier about and the recognition that allowing that debt to build up became part of the problem over time?
So our installment plan and our credit policies, we'll call it broadly, provided that flexibility during COVID, and that was something we saw across the utility industry, saw across the Carolinas, and we have, for at least in Duke, we have the changes that we've made to tighten those policies to strike a better balance, we'll say, has been is cascaded through all of our utilities here in the Carolinas.
I think that's it. I'm just double checking. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Commissioner Williams, would you like for Mr. Colley's letter, which is dated October 31st, 2025, and is filed in DMS, would you like it placed in the hearing record as exhibit number 10?
That's a wonderful idea. Thank you, Chair Powers. If the company agrees.
Any objection from any party? All right, hearing none, it will be placed in the record as exhibit number 10. The letter of Mr. Colley dated 10/31/2025, which provided information and positions as far as the public hearings that were held. Thank you. Any further commissioner questions?
Chair Power, one.
Commissioner Caston.
Thank you. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I believe I saw both y'all at every public hearing. I know I saw Mr. Pearson. Pretty sure you were there.
I was there too. Yes, sir.
I didn't want to overlook you. In your summary testimony you just gave, you're referencing your direct testimony where you talked about measure and improve customer satisfaction through surveys, national benchmarks, real-time feedback. And in those public hearings, I do recall, I guess, some concern by some customers of difficulties reaching someone or long hold times. And I don't remember the name of your new system that interfaced, I think, customer service and I guess other programs that you have. But with all that in mind, the new system that you have, the benchmarks, the surveys, the real-time surveys, first of all, is the new system working as intended, and how was the company addressing that? Is this what the surveys is showing?
Yeah, so I think a couple questions in there, and I'll respond. And if you need any further clarification, please let me know. So it's the system I think you're referencing. it relates to our Customer Connect platform, which is our new billing system. And yes, it is working well, working as intended. We've been before this commission and we work through issues just like we did in our old system. There's always, having millions of customers, there's always opportunity for perfection, and that's what we strive for. And then related to the customer comments at the hearings around hold times or unable to reach folks, that's atypical. Most of our hold times are less than a minute. On average, customers are able to speak with someone once they exit our automated phone system in less than a minute. So it's there are times when that does occur, when we have impacts that may increase hold times or the type of inquiry that a customer may have, but it's certainly not the norm. And so does that help answer your questions?
Absolutely. And I know your customer surveys that you do, I know you used to do these statistical surveys where, you didn't push an answer, and I don't know what kind of surveys these are, but is that first of all, is that the type of surveys you're doing with your customer satisfaction?
Yes. So we have quite the suite of tools, I'll say, for measuring feedback from customers. So the survey you're referencing, if you're on, with a call specialist and you press a button at the end to give feedback, we have those. And if we have long wait times, we certainly hear about that in those surveys. So we measure our wait times, outside of just hearing it from our customers, so we know in real time pretty much what wait times look like. But if customers are frustrated, they share those frustrations with us. And we measure not just our contact center, but an engagement through our website, through our mobile app, on the channel itself, like how you're connecting with us, but also in the transaction that you're performing. If you're making a payment, we will follow up with survey opportunities to tell us how your experience was, not only in the channel you used, but the transaction that you made. And then we generally survey customers on a broad sentiment around how they feel about Duke Energy in general. So we have a number of tools that we use to collect data, collect feedback from our customers, and it really underpins a lot of our strategies on how we make investments to better serve our customers.
All that is really good to hear, and I can tell you firsthand that if you have less than 30,000 customers, you have similar issues in getting the bugs and things out. So I applaud the effort. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Commissioner Caston. Any further commissioner questions? Mr. Colley, when you have somebody who's having problems paying, how quickly does the company recognize that? Particularly, I'm thinking about, local agencies that are available to assist people. I'm wondering when you spot it, or how quickly you can spot it, and how do you put those people in touch with local agencies for assistance?
So one unique team that we have is our agency. We call them our agency assistance team. They are dedicated, really a team that works with our assistance agencies to make sure that when there's funds available, that they can apply them to customer accounts efficiently. We have a digital portal so those agencies can self-serve, but we also have really a dedicated phone line for agencies to call us if a customer's making an application with that agency, they contact us and we can immediately notate their account that money is expected from a certain agency. So it happens rather quickly. Also, if a customer calls into our contact center or is on our website and looking for help, we have a pretty cool tool that's been implemented this year we call it the agency lookup tool. You can put in your own zip code and see agencies that have made recent pledges in a general area to customers' accounts. It doesn't give detailed information, but generally we know that if there's a church or another nonprofit or even the LIHEAP agencies have funding available and have made recent pledges, that customers can reach out to them. So we try to find unique ways to contact customers or let customers self-serve to learn about when there is agency assistance available.
Okay. So when there is agency assistance, is that paid directly? They call to verify that if somebody's got a problem or has a bill. Is that paid directly to the company, or is it given to the applicant?
It's applied to the applicant's account, so it doesn't flow to if I'm making apply for agency assistance, I'm deemed eligible. The recipient gets the benefit, but the dollars don't flow necessarily through that recipient. It's applied as a credit to their account.
And that avoids any sort of problems with people trying to scheme or scam on that sort of thing.
Yes, it can. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Colley. Any further commissioner questions? Gentlemen, thank you very much. Any redirect?
Chair Powers, no redirect. At this time, the company would ask that Mr. Pearson and Mr. Colley be excused, however.
At their own risk.
Thank you, sir.
I can't help it.
Chair, at this time, the company calls Ms. Kendra Ward and Mr. Jonathan Byrd to the stand. Thanks.
Ms. Ward, if you'll raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony that you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. And Mr. Byrd, if you'll raise your right hand, do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We'll start with Ms. Ward, and then we'll go to Mr. Byrd and have you read your summaries after I go through a series of questions with you each. Ms. Ward, please state your name and your business address for the record.
My name is Kendra Ward, and my business address is 525 South Tryon Street, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28202.
Ms. Ward, you can pull that microphone a little closer if you like. It's portable.
Good.
Thank you.
And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by Duke Energy Carolinas LLC as a Rates and Regulatory Strategy Director.
And did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision direct testimony consisting of 41 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on July 1st, 2025 in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed direct testimony?
No.
If I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
And did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision 3 exhibits to your direct testimony that were previously filed with the Commission as attachments to your pre-filed direct testimony in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your exhibits?
No.
Chairman Powers, at this time, I move that Ms. Ward's pre-filed direct testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand, and that Ms. Ward's direct exhibits be marked and entered into the record.
The pre-filed direct testimony of Ms. Ward will be entered the record as if given orally from the stand. The pre-filed direct exhibits, known as Exhibits 1 through 3, are marked for identification and placed in the record as Exhibit number 11.
Thank you, Chairman. And did you also prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision supplemental direct testimony consisting of 6 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on August 6, 2025 in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your supplemental direct testimony?
No, I do not.
And if I asked you the same questions today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
And did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision 2 supplemental exhibits to your supplemental direct testimony that were previously filed with the Commission as attachments to your supplemental direct testimony in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your supplemental exhibits?
No, I do not.
Chairman Powers, at this time, I move that Ms. Ward's supplemental direct testimony be entered into the record as given orally from the stand, and that Ms. Ward's supplemental direct exhibits be marked and entered into the record.
All right, the supplemental direct testimony of Ms. Ward will be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand. The supplemental direct exhibits 1 and 2 of Ms. Ward are marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 12.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Ms. Ward, did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision rebuttal testimony consisting of 21 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on October 27th, 2025 in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed rebuttal testimony?
No, I do not.
And if I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes, they would.
And did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision 2 exhibits to your rebuttal testimony that were previously filed with the Commission as attachments to your pre-filed rebuttal testimony in this docket?
Yes.
And do you have any changes or additions to your rebuttal exhibits?
No.
Chairman Powers, at this time, I move that Ms. Ward's pre-filed rebuttal testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand, and that Ms. Ward's rebuttal exhibits be marked and entered into the record.
The pre-filed rebuttal testimony of Ms. Ward will be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand, and the pre-filed rebuttal exhibits marked 1 and 2 marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 13.
Thank you very much. Ms. Ward, did you also prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision settlement testimony consisting of 12 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on November 12th, 2025 in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed settlement testimony?
No, I do not.
If I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes, they would.
And did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision 2 exhibits to your settlement testimony that were previously filed with the Commission as attachments to your pre-filed settlement testimony in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your settlement exhibits?
No.
Chairman Powers, at this time, I move that Ms. Ward's pre-filed settlement testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand, and that Ms. Ward's settlement exhibits be marked and entered into the record.
The pre-filed settlement testimony of Ms. Ward will be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand. The pre-filed settlement exhibits 1 through 2 are marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 14.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Ward, you've been a busy girl.
Yes, I have.
And Mr. Byrd, if you don't mind turning on your microphone, please. Thank you. Mr. Byrd, please state your name and business address for the record.
Jonathan Byrd. My business address is 525 South Tryon Street, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28202.
And by whom are you employed in what capacity?
I'm employed by Duke Energy as the Managing Director of Rate Design and Regulatory Solutions.
And did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision direct testimony consisting of 41 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on July 1, 2025 in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed direct testimony?
No, I do not.
And if I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision 6 exhibits to your direct testimony that were previously filed with the Commission as attachments to your pre-filed direct testimony in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your exhibits?
No, I do not.
Chairman Powers, at this time, I move that Mr. Byrd's pre-filed direct testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand, and that Mr. Byrd's direct exhibits be marked and entered into the record.
The pre-filed direct testimony of Mr. Byrd will be entered in the record as if given orally from the stand, and the pre-filed direct exhibits identified as exhibits 1 through 6 are marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 15.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Byrd, did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision rebuttal testimony consisting of 18 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on October 27, 2025 in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed rebuttal testimony?
No, I do not.
If I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision 1 exhibit to your rebuttal testimony that was previously filed with the Commission as an attachment to your pre-filed rebuttal testimony in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your exhibit?
No.
Chairman Powers, at this time, I move that Mr. Byrd's pre-filed rebuttal testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand, and that Mr. Byrd's rebuttal exhibit be marked and entered into the record.
The pre-filed rebuttal testimony of Mr. Byrd will be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand, and the rebuttal Exhibit 1 of Mr. Byrd is marked for identification and placed in the record as Exhibit number 16.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Byrd, did you also prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision settlement testimony consisting of 10 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on November 12th in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed settlement testimony?
No.
And if I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes, they would.
Did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision 8 exhibits to your settlement testimony that were previously filed with the Commission as attachments to your pre-filed settlement testimony in this docket?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your exhibits?
Yes. I have 2 limited corrections to the PTC rider that was attached to my settlement testimony as page 2 of Byrd Settlement Exhibit number 8. First, in the final paragraph A, First, the final date in paragraph A below the monthly rate table should be December 31, 2027, rather than February 29th, 2028. Second,
Mr. Byrd, can you slow down for just a second? Sorry. Okay. Just as you go through these, this takes a little bit longer, so please continue.
Second, the date in paragraph B below the monthly rate table should be January 2028. Rather than March 2028. These changes align with the revenue requirement stipulation, and the company will make these corrections in the rider PTC compliance filing made after the Commission issues its final order in this docket.
Thank you, Mr. Byrd. Mr. Chairman, at this time, I move that Mr. Byrd's pre-filed settlement testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand, and that Mr. Byrd's settlement exhibits be marked and entered into the record.
The settlement testimony of Mr. Byrd will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The pre-filed settlement exhibits 1 through 8 as corrected this morning will be marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 17.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Ward, have you prepared a summary of your direct, supplemental, direct, rebuttal, and settlement testimony?
Yes, I have.
And Mr. Byrd, have you prepared a summary of your direct, rebuttal, and settlement testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Byrd, would you please provide your summary now?
Good morning, Chairman Powers and members of the Commission. In my direct testimony, I supported the company's request for an adjustment to its base rates. I presented the results of DEC's operations under present rates on the basis of an adjusted historical test year using the 12-month period ended December 31st, 2023, and a capital update period through December 31st, 2024. I supported the company's proposed revenue requirement of approximately $150.5 million. I provided details for the proposed revenue requirement, including an overview and in-depth description of each accounting and pro forma adjustment to the company's operating revenues, expenses, and rate base. I also sponsored the company's accounting request, including continuing regulatory asset treatment for coal ash environmental compliance cost after the update period, and the proposed establishment of a pension rider. In my supplemental direct testimony, I presented updates to certain accounting and pro forma adjustments, including corrections and updates resulting from recent Commission orders and the company's ongoing review of its filings. These updates addressed, among other items, adjustments related to fuel cost, rate case expenses, Act 62, cash working capital, interest synchronization, storm cost reserve, and the storm securitization regulatory liability. The cumulative effect of these supplemental adjustments is a reduction in the company's proposed revenue requirement by approximately $0.3 million, resulting in an updated revenue requirement of approximately $150.3 million. While the company did not formally amend its requested revenue requirement at that stage of the case, these adjustments were intended to inform the final outcome as the proceeding progressed. While I filed rebuttal testimony and exhibits on October 27, 2025, the issues I addressed have now been resolved in the revenue requirement stipulation. In my settlement testimony, I explained that the revenue requirement stipulation reflects a reasonable compromise among the parties and results in a revised revenue requirement of approximately $74.2 million based on a capital structure of 53% equity and 47% debt and a return on common equity of 9.99%. I also describe 2 new rate mitigation riders agreed to in the settlement, the production tax credit rider and the CARE rider. The PTC rider will return $100 million to customers over the first 22 months of new rates, and the CARE rider will return $1.5 million to the residential class funded by shareholders over 24 months. I also discussed the company's agreement to work with ORS in good faith to petition the Commission to open a generic proceeding to evaluate the appropriate method for calculating cash working capital in future rate cases. Finally, I explained how Attachment A to the revenue requirement stipulation, which incorporates Ward Settlement Exhibit 1 and Ward Settlement Exhibit 2, reflect the adjustments contained in the revenue requirement stipulation. I conclude that the revenue requirement stipulation is the result of extensive negotiation and compromise among the parties, is a just and reasonable resolution of the related issues in this proceeding, is in the public interest, and should be approved. This concludes the summary of my pre-filed direct, supplemental direct, and settlement testimony.
And Mr. Byrd, will you please deliver your summaries at this time?
Yes. Good morning, Chairman Powers and members of the Commission. In my direct testimony, I provided an overview of the company's rate design proposals for residential and non-residential rate schedules to recover the proposed revenue requirements and improve alignment between the revenues collected from each customer class and the company's cost of service. I described how the company's incremental rate design modifications in this case are a continuation of existing rate design modernization efforts. For residential customers, I noted that most would see little change to their current rate options, though the company proposed a new schedule to serve large, highly flexible loads such as electric vehicles. For non-residential customers, I explained that the proposed updates will result in customers seeing only incremental impacts. I also discussed the modest changes to the company's lighting schedules and service regulations. Overall, I explained that the updated rates will allow the company to recover its cost of providing safe and reliable electric service and to maintain a strong financial position for the benefit of customers. While I filed rebuttal testimony on October 27, 2025, the issues I raised have been resolved in the revenue requirement and large load stipulations. In my settlement testimony, I support the revenue requirement stipulation's rate design provisions and the large load stipulation. Regarding the revenue requirement stipulation, I explained that the revised rate design continues to align rate class revenues with cost causation, incorporates the customer mitigation measures agreed to, and reflects the updated revenue requirement. I described how the company allocated the benefits of the PTC rider and the CARE rider across customer classes and provided exhibits detailing the calculation of those charges. I also described the provisions related to schedules HP and OPT. Finally, I support the terms of the large load stipulation, which establish a path for a comprehensive review of topics related to large loads and a dedicated docket that will include other utilities and stakeholders. I conclude that the stipulations are a constructive resolution of all issues in this proceeding, are in the public interest, and I respectfully request that the Commission approve them. This concludes the summary of my pre-filed direct and settlement testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Byrd. Mr. Chairman, this panel is now available for Commissioner questions.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper, and thank you both. Any Commissioner questions? Commissioner Belson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. Thank you all for being here this morning.
Good morning.
I'm interested in, it's on page 12 of the settlement agreement, or the stipulate, revenue requirement stipulation, with regard to paragraph 18. And it has to do with the last sentence with the agreement to review the timing of the filing and effective date of the pension rider updates. Are y'all the right people to ask about this? Okay.
Yes.
What I'm interested in is when would the pension rider come to the commission annually for inclusion or update, whether it's increase or decrease? Do you know right now?
I do. So what we have proposed so far is that we would file the rider in May with new rates being effective in August. But then what we've agreed to as part of the settlement agreement is just to review that timing as we go forward to see if that timing makes sense if we were to be successful in the business combination between DEC and DEP.
Okay. And where I'm coming from is we have one IOU here where their pension rider, their fuel clause, and their EEDSM clause all hits at the same time. So customers see one change based on all three of those. And I know that neither DEC or DEP, theirs kind of hit it at all different times. And we hear a lot from customers about, well, they had 3 rate increases or they had this many rate increases. Is there a possibility of looking at alignment with some of these multiple changes? I just throw that out there for maybe customer that they don't see so many changes in a year.
Absolutely, there is, and that is definitely something we want to look at, especially as we move forward if there is the combination of DEC and DEP, and being able to align the timing of when these updates happen to try to get them more synced up, so they're not seeing quite as many changes throughout the year, like you mentioned.
And I know it may not work out, but if it would just be something that the company could look at.
Yes, we'll
Okay.
definitely look at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Belson. Any further commissioner questions? Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Chair Powers. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is for either of you. I think it might be for Ms. Ward, but I'm just curious, following up on the conversation about uncollectibles and the credit changes. Have you seen any impact of that? I do think I heard Mr. Coley say it's only been in effect for a couple of months. So just wanted to touch base to see if you've seen any impact in the uncollectibles.
I haven't noticed any impact yet. I do have some actual numbers that I could share with you, but we're not seeing those just yet in the items that Mr. Colley had mentioned.
Okay. You have actual numbers?
For 2023, and then the numbers we're starting to see in 2024, but not 2025 data yet.
Okay, right. Okay. And probably this is for Mr. Byrd. I'm going to ask a little differently than I did in the other case, but my general concern is a little bit similar to Commissioner Belzer's. We know what the impact will be when this goes into place, when the rate changes go into place. What's the impact in, I think one rolls off in 22 months, one rolls off in 24 months, and there's some unknown nature of one of those. And then we've also got the EDIT rolling off as well. My question is, what's the impact to the typical customer? And then my other question is, how can that be messaged?
Let me take those in parts. I think the first question is how do we break those up? And thinking about PTC and the care rider and the rate increase itself. In Byrd Settlement Exhibit 4 and we try to improve this exhibit a little bit for transparency based on your question last time. So hopefully this helps. In column E.
Hang on just a minute. Let
Sure.
me get there. Column E.
Column E, it shows the change in base rates. And if you'll look at, we typically look at Schedule RS, 1,000 kilowatt hour customer. So across that line, if you see the 505, that's the base rate increase. And then
Make sure I get, because there are multiple E's on, but I'm on page 1 of 4. Is that correct?
Sorry, yes, page 1 of 4, Byrd Settlement Exhibit 4, that's correct.
Okay.
Line 7,
Yes.
for that 1,000 kilowatt hour customer, the base rate increase is $5.05, and then the combination of the care and PTC riders is about $4.21, and that nets out to the 84-cent increase overall that customers experience on day one. And of course, as you mentioned, the care and PTC would roll off after CARE would roll off after 24 months, and PTC would be adjusted. So this is the initial number, and of course those would change at those thresholds. So I don't have those numbers for you today.
Okay, and that's really what my focus was. And in a similar vein, I think we all heard customers' confusion. We understand it. You all work in a complex environment, and these are three impactful, some more than others, impactful credits that are going to be rolling off, and there'll be a different world perhaps then in terms of the company's alignment. So I know it's not a crystal ball, it's not a hard line, but I think customers want to understand their bills better, and personally, it's hard for me to look at the 0.84 cents without thinking about what's coming up in the next half a year, the next 2 years. But you're saying that's not been estimated?
I don't have those numbers other than to size this up, right? So for the base rate increase, it's that $5, and then CARE and PTC bring it down. I'm encouraged by the fact that CARE and PTC over the near and medium term are reducing that rate increase for this typical RS customer by more than 80%. So that's helpful. I just don't have the numbers for those out as things change over time. But I understand your concern.
Is that something that could be provided in a report going forward? In a letter going forward?
I think I would need to ask about that.
Okay.
So I can take that question back.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Any further commissioner questions? Hearing none, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Robinson, I think we're going to take our morning break right now. It's 5 to 11. If everyone could be back at, let's say 11:15.
Mr. Chair, just for simplicity, so we can pick right up, can we, we're finished with this panel. We'd ask that they be excused, subject to your admonition and warnings, and thank you very much.
Yes. We'll be in recess till 11:15. Thank you. 3, 2, 1. We are back on the record in docket number 2025-172E. Duke Energy Carolinas is presenting their settlement testimony, and it's all up to you.
All right. Mr. Coyne, if you'll raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And Mr. Callahan, if you raise your right hand, do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Your witness.
Mr. Callahan, I'm going to start with you. Please state your name and your business address for the record.
Michael Callahan. My business address is 525 South Tryon Street, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28202.
And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by Duke Energy Business Services as Senior Vice President and Treasurer.
Okay. Did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision direct testimony consisting of 19 pages that was previously filed with the Commission on July 1, 2025 in this docket?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed direct testimony?
No, I do not.
If I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes, they would.
Did you pre-file any exhibits in conjunction with your direct testimony?
No, I did not.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, at this time, I would move that Mr. Callahan's pre-filed direct testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed direct testimony of Mr. Callahan will be entered in the record as if given orally from the stand.
Mr. Callahan, did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision rebuttal testimony consisting of 34 pages that was previously filed with this commission on October 27, 2025 in this docket?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed rebuttal testimony?
No, I do not.
If I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes, they would.
Did you pre-file any exhibits in conjunction with your rebuttal testimony?
Yes, I did.
Did you prepare or cause to be prepared and pre-filed with your rebuttal testimony on October 27, 2025, Callahan rebuttal exhibits 1 through 6?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any changes to your exhibits?
No, I do not.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I move that Mr. Callahan's pre-filed rebuttal testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed rebuttal testimony of Mr. Callahan will be moved into the record as if given orally from the stand.
I also move that Mr. Callahan's rebuttal exhibits 1 through 6 be marked and entered into the record as the next hearing exhibit.
The pre-filed rebuttal exhibits identified as Callahan exhibits 1 through 6 are marked for identification, placed in the record as exhibit number 18.
Did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision settlement testimony consisting of 6 pages that was filed with the Commission on November 12th, 2025 in this docket?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed settlement testimony?
No, I do not.
If I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes, they would.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I move that Mr. Callahan's pre-filed settlement testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed settlement testimony of Mr. Callahan will be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
Mr. Coyne, please state your name and business address for the record.
My name is James M. Coyne, and my business address is 293 Boston Post Road, Marlborough, Massachusetts, 01752.
And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by Concentric Energy Advisors as a Senior Vice President.
Okay. Did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision direct testimony consisting of 70 pages that was previously filed with this commission on July 1, 2025?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed direct testimony?
No.
If I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Did you pre-file any exhibits in conjunction with your direct testimony?
I did.
Okay. Did you prepare or cause to be prepared and pre-filed with your direct testimony on July 1, 2025, Coyne Direct Exhibits 1 through 4, Coyne Direct Exhibits 5.1 through 5.3, and Coyne Direct Exhibits 6 through 12?
Yes.
Do you have any changes to your exhibits?
No, I do not.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I move that Mr. Coyne's pre-filed direct testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed direct testimony of Mr. Coyne will enter the record as if given orally from the stand.
I also move that Mr. Coyne's exhibits 1 through 4, 5.1 through 5.3, and exhibits 6 through 12 be marked and entered into the record as the next hearing exhibit.
The pre-filed direct exhibits 1 through 4, 5.1 through 5.3, and 6 through 12 will be entered in the record as exhibit number 19.
Mr. Coyne, did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision rebuttal testimony consisting of 86 pages that was previously filed with this commission on October 27th, 2025?
Yes.
And do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed rebuttal testimony?
No.
If I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Did you pre-file any exhibits in conjunction with your rebuttal testimony?
Yes.
Did you prepare or cause to be prepared and pre-filed with your rebuttal testimony on October 27, 2025, Coyne rebuttal exhibits 1 through 3, rebuttal exhibits 4.1 through 4.3, and Coyne rebuttal exhibits 5 through 7?
Yes.
Do you have any changes to your exhibits?
No.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I move that Mr. Coyne's pre-filed rebuttal testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed rebuttal testimony of Mr. Coyne will be entered in the record as if given orally from the stand.
I also move that Mr. Coyne's rebuttal exhibits 1 through 3, 4.1 through 4.3, and 5 through 7 be marked and entered into the record as the next composite hearing exhibit.
The pre-filed rebuttal testimonies of Mr. Coyne identified as 1 through 3 and 4.1 through 4.3 and 5 through 7 will be entered into the record as exhibit number 20.
Mr. Coyne, did you prepare or cause to be prepared under your supervision settlement testimony consisting of 5 pages that was filed with this commission on November 12th, 2025?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or additions to your pre-filed settlement testimony?
No changes.
If I asked you the same questions here today, would your answers be the same?
They would.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I move that Mr. Coyne's pre-filed settlement testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed settlement testimony of Mr. Coyne will be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
Okay. Mr. Callahan, have you prepared a summary of your testimony?
Yes, I have.
And Mr. Coyne, have you prepared a summary of your testimony?
I have.
All right. Would you please deliver your summaries at this time, beginning with Mr. Callahan?
Chair Powers, Vice Chair Williams, and members of the Commission, my name is Michael Callahan, and I am the Senior Vice President and Treasurer for Duke Energy Business Services, LLC, which provides various administrative and other services to Duke Energy Carolinas, LLC, which I will refer to as DEC or the company. It is a pleasure to be back in South Carolina and appear before this commission again today. In my current position, I am responsible for Treasury-related services to Duke Energy Corporation and its subsidiaries, including DEC. I monitor trends in the capital markets and maintain key relationships with debt investors, analysts, and financial institutions. I also manage Duke Energy and its subsidiaries' credit ratings and interactions with the major credit rating agencies, commercial banks, and the capital markets. My direct testimony in this proceeding addressed DEC's financial objectives, capital structure, and cost of capital. I discussed the current credit ratings and forecasted capital needs of DEC, and I explained why maintaining strong credit quality and access to capital is essential to DEC's ability to finance the infrastructure investments needed to support economic growth, modernize the grid, and provide safe, reliable, and affordable electric service. To ensure reliable and cost-effective service, and to fulfill its obligations to serve customers, the company must continuously plan and execute major capital projects. DEC must therefore appeal to debt and Duke Energy's equity investors to attract the capital it needs. Throughout my direct testimony, I emphasized that DEC's ability to meet its financial objectives is in the best interests of customers because it allows the company to fund critical investments in generation, transmission, and distribution infrastructure by attracting capital at reasonable terms for the benefit of its customers. While I filed rebuttal testimony on October 27th, 2025, the issues I addressed have been resolved in the revenue requirement stipulation. In my settlement testimony, I support the 53% to 47% equity to debt capital structure and 9.99% ROE, which are reasonable and appropriate when viewed in the context of the overall revenue requirement stipulation. The terms of the revenue requirement stipulation, including the proposed capital structure and ROE, will provide DEC the opportunity to maintain its financial health and credit rating to the benefit of the company and its customers. The revenue requirement stipulation demonstrates the company's ability to recover prudently incurred costs and resolve issues of the base rate proceeding with the ORS and other interveners through settlement. I believe the revenue requirement stipulation demonstrates to the rating agencies the company's ability to effectively manage regulatory risk within a constructive regulatory environment and ultimately supports the company's ability to achieve its financial objectives. I conclude that the stipulations are a constructive resolution of all issues in this proceeding, are in the public interest, and I respectfully request that the Commission approve them.
Mr. Coyne, if you may.
Good morning, Chair Powers, Vice Chair Williams, and Commissioners. My name is James Coyne, and it's good to be before you again. The purpose of my direct testimony was to present evidence and provide a recommendation for Duke Energy Carolinas, or DEC's, return on equity. My direct testimony also discussed the company's capital structure in comparison to the proxy group companies supporting my analysis. The electric utility proxy group was selected to reflect comparable companies in terms of business and financial risks. I estimated DEC's ROE based on the results from 4 models commonly used for these purposes: the discounted cash flow model, the capital asset pricing model, the bond yield plus risk premium model, and the expected earnings model. I used model inputs based on market data as of May 30th, 2025 at that time, both current and forecast from reputable third-party sources. In my direct testimony, these models produced a 4-model average of 10.99% or 11.09% with 10 basis points for flotation costs, within a range of 10.49 to 11.69%. I identified risk factors that indicate that DEC is above average risk. Based on my model results and considering the company's specific risk profile, I recommended an ROE of 10.85%, which I considered a conservative estimate of the required ROE given the company's risk profile and current economic and capital market conditions as I measured at that time. And I've managed to displace the second page. Pardon me.
Mr. Chairman, may I first?
I think I have now found it. Yes, okay, thank you. It's a problem with too many notes. Regarding the capital structure, DEC proposed a financial capital structure consisting of 53% common equity and 47% long-term debt. I supported DEC's proposed financial capital structure as reasonable relative to the range of capital structures for the operating companies held by the proxy group companies. I filed rebuttal testimony on October 27, 2025, and subsequently the parties reached agreement effectively resolving all the contested issues in this proceeding through 3 stipulations. My settlement testimony provides my opinion on the revenue requirement stipulation as it relates to the appropriate ROE and the capital structure for DEC. I understand the 3 stipulations, when considered together, are comprehensive as to the parties and issues, with all parties either indicating support for or lack of opposition to the stipulation, and that the company has determined that the terms of the revenue requirement stipulation, including the agreed upon ROE and common equity ratio, would be viewed by the rating agencies as constructive and equitable. I understand and respect that determination and support the stipulated ROE on that basis. The 9.9%, 9.99% ROE is 5 basis points higher than the Commission's last authorized return of 9.94% for DEC. This increase is directionally consistent with the yields on long-term government bonds, which are currently 30 basis points higher than when the company's last rate case settlement was approved in July of 2024. On balance, in my opinion, the proposed 9.99% ROE, coupled with a 53% common equity ratio, is supported by the evidence on record and would provide DEC a fair and reasonable allowed return on equity in the context of the broader settlement framework. This concludes my opening statement, and I welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Callahan and Mr. Coyne. Mr. Chairman, at this time, the witnesses are available for any commissioner questions.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards, and thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Any commissioner questions? Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Chair Powers. Good to see you all again.
Good to see you as well.
You can predict the first question, and but it's a general one to both of you, and it's about the electric RSA. And so, what is there's been some testimony in this hearing that the presence, the availability, the resource of the electric RSA makes this rate making less risky, this rate less risky. I want to start with you, Mr. Coyne. Is that a factor that you considered? And then Mr. Callahan already knows where I'm going with his question.
Commissioner, I considered the RSA in the context of my analysis of the company, and I gave credit for the RSA as creating a regulatory framework that was comparable to the proxy group companies. As you may know, the RRA Research Associates, which is a division of Standard & Poor's, had previously graded this commission as average 3. And with the passage of HB 3309, it was upgraded from average 3 to average 2, middle of the pack, from a standpoint of a view of constructive regulation within the state. And I viewed it the same way, that I saw the act as providing an opportunity for electric utilities in the state to have a better opportunity to earn their allowed returns. I understand that the company has not yet elected a rate plan under the RSA, but it has the opportunity to do so. So, given that it has the opportunity to do so, I viewed it as comparable to the rest of the proxy group companies, so an upgrade from where it might have been considered otherwise. I think it's too early to say exactly how those plans are going to unfold over time as they're implemented, but for the time being, I didn't make any regulatory adjustment other than to consider the company in the middle of the range of my proxy group companies who have similar mechanisms.
Thank you. Do you want to add anything to that, Mr. Callahan?
I think I would just add broadly, I agree with Mr. Coyne about, sort of an average assessment of risk. Subsequent to the Duke Energy Progress rate case, and I think it was Commissioner Thomas that asked a very similar question about the Energy Security Act. Does it reduce risk for the utility? In the intervening time since, in the last week or two, both credit rating agencies have issued industry reports talking about legislation that has been enacted this year across multiple states across the country. And they both acknowledged that there has been a reduction in risk in South Carolina as a result of the Energy Security Act. In fact, Standard & Poor's, my colleague Mr. Coyne mentioned RRA, S&P, their credit rating side of the house, actually upgraded their assessment of risk in the state as well. There's 5 levels that they rate states. There's credit supportive, more credit supportive, which I would say, let's start with 1 and go up to 5. 2 is more credit supportive. That's where South Carolina was. It has now moved up to a 3, or what they call very credit supportive. Now, it is still below some of our surrounding states that we compete with. So Georgia, for example, North Carolina are ranked as highly credit supportive, or a 4, which is, as Mr. Coyne mentioned, those are who we're competing with. And when I think about this, we're sort of at the average level. Specifically to the RSA, we have not made a decision about whether we would use that mechanism. As Mr. Pearson mentioned this morning, it is still a historic test year, so there is still regulatory lag. But to the extent that we could use that particular mechanism, it could help to reduce some regulatory lag. It also has a cap on 250 megawatts of generation. And as we look ahead, more of our capital investment plan will be generation. The Energy Security Act was focused on how do we get more generation in the state to serve the growing demands that we're seeing from population growth, from economic development. I'm excited on that front, I will say, to see that we are moving forward with the Anderson combined cycle plant. We have filed a Siting Act application there. That's something that I personally advocated for many years, and I'm excited to see that we're moving forward on that. But I think that's overall what I would say about the Energy Security Act and the RSA.
Thank you both. And Mr. Coyne, I think you described the nuclear generation fleet to be a business risk. Could you tell more about that?
I did. Yeah, it's nuclear generating assets are a double-edged sword. They provide low-cost energy for a very long period of time, but they're also more complex to operate. And from an investor risk perspective, that's how the community views them. They view an operator such as Duke as an experienced and qualified nuclear energy operator. So in that sense, I think there's confidence that that'll continue to be the case in the future. But Duke and all other nuclear operators are not immune from the fact that they're more complex to operate, and from time to time there are incidents that may be well beyond their control, but if they occur elsewhere in the industry, can have implications for how they operate those plants. So from an investment credit standpoint, all the credit agencies will take note of the fact that you're a nuclear operator. Generally, we see the allowed return requirements as being higher for nuclear generators than it is for non-nuclear operators. If you look at the national averages, for example, the allowed returns for nuclear generators are about 20 basis points higher than it is for the non-nuclear generators, recognizing some of that incremental risk.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the answers.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Any other commissioner questions? Mr. Coyne, I hope I understand what you're explaining, but when you say that the risk is lower now, and either one of you can take this question, because of the just the opportunity itself for the RSA, is that something that's an objective measurement or subjective measurement? I mean,
subjective, to be sure. Whenever you're evaluating a legislative and regulatory environment, it inevitably comes down to a subjective evaluation of the overall framework. And where it gets objective typically is where you measure the ability to earn its allowed return. So when you look at something like the RSA, you could say, well, utilities have a history of operating successfully under multi-year rate plans. That's a good thing. The opportunity to put CWIP in rate base, albeit with some limitations, is a good thing. And when executed well, those can allow the utility to earn its allowed return, and that's something that investors look at as being constructive. So the hallmarks of that are there. The proof in the pudding that will remain to be seen is whether or not, when you put those facets together and implement them, is a company like Duke able to earn their allowed return consistently over time. If you look at the state of Florida, for example, where they have a multi-year rate plan, they have mechanisms there. In their case, it's called the RSAM, that allows the utility to manage its allowed return so that it's generally equal to, or in many years greater than, the allowed return. That type of mechanism is viewed as being highly constructive because it almost guarantees the utility to be very close to what its allowed return is going to be. So over time, it becomes objective if you can measure the success of the utility to operate well within it and limit the variability around earning its allowed return. That's where it really gets measured in a more objective fashion.
The requirement in that statute that if you go under it, you have to have a rate case within 5 years. Subjectively, does that lower or make the risk higher? Or do you think it has anything really to do with the risk itself?
And I want to understand the specific element you're referring to.
If you elect to go under RSA under the law, as I understand it, then you must file a rate case within 5 years.
Yes.
You're required to. And then, of course, you have the under and over collection things to deal with. But that a 5-year period really doesn't affect the risk we're looking at as far as the opportunity.
I wouldn't say so. You know, that's a fairly common provision within these multi-year rate plan programs, that they have bandwidths around them. And it's typically the case that you do have to come in within a certain amount of time. 5 years is fairly common in order to show that your costs are still your cost of service are still close to what your rates are for customers, so that everybody can feel comfortable that they're just and reasonable rates.
And I guess when you get to that point, then we will be able to be more objective as far as how the process works with the RSA.
It's true. You know, and many of these commissions have been through these programs for 4 or 5 times. So everybody knows how they work, and they know where the levers are, and they typically get improved over time, and they change as all stakeholders come to the table and indicate what their concerns are, if any, with these programs. The utility has more operating experience with them, and so doesn't the commission. So they typically evolve. But by the time you get 3 or 4 or 5 iterations into the program, as you have in Georgia or as you have in Florida, there's typically more comfort with them.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any further commissioner questions?
Just to follow up on your
Commissioner
question, if I
Caston.
may. And relative to that, I'm sure you know, on the gas side, already have that. So there is, some degree of experience relative to that. And I heard that that rating going up, which is good for the company. All that said, the thought, the role of RS and everyone else is to try to find that balance. It's good for the customer, good for the utility, promote investment and maintenance on the company side, and for the customer side to, keep rates as low as they can be. So all said and done, do you agree that that is the basic goal or role of this whole process, to balance that interest of the customer, the utility, consuming public and such?
I can certainly answer that, and perhaps you can add, but I don't think there's any question that that is the role that the commission plays. You're in the unenviable position at times of having to make that balance between how do you ensure that the company remains financially strong and healthy and has access to the capital that it needs to fund its day-to-day operations. You've heard me before talk about the fact that we're a very capital-intensive industry, and we operate from a position of free cash flow is negative every single day. We have to access the capital markets. So you want to ensure our financial strength on the one hand, but you also have to balance that with the competitiveness, the affordability, et cetera, of our rates for customers. And so I just think overall that that's the role that a commission plays in this process. You mentioned the Energy Security Act and the improvement in the credit rating, if you will, of the state, and that being good for the company. But I would also say that's good for customers as well.
Okay.
I couldn't improve on that.
Good answer. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further commissioner questions? All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
At the risk of being repetitive, and at my own risk, Mr. Chairman, if Mr. Callahan and Mr. Coyne may be excused with the admonition that it's at their risk.
I don't think Mr. Coyne wants to go anywhere. I think the wind chill in Boston today is in the low 20s.
I might stay a while.
Yeah, you might stay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, the company would call Ms. Heather Shirley Smith to the witness stand.
Ms. Smith, if you'll raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Smith.
Good morning.
Would you please state your name for the record?
Heather Shirley Smith.
And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by Duke Energy. I'm the Vice President of Regulatory Affairs and Policy for South Carolina for Duke.
Did you prepare or cause to be prepared 35 pages of pre-filed rebuttal testimony filed with this commission in this proceeding?
Yes.
If I asked you the same questions that were contained within your pre-filed rebuttal testimony, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I would ask that Ms. Smith's pre-filed rebuttal testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed rebuttal testimony of Ms. Smith will be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you, sir. And Ms. Smith, there were 3 exhibits that you prepared or caused to be prepared that were pre-filed with your rebuttal testimony. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you have any changes to those 3 pre-filed rebuttal exhibits at this time?
I do not.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would ask that Smith rebuttal exhibits 1, 2, and 3 be entered into the record as the next composite hearing exhibit.
The pre-filed rebuttal exhibits identified as 1, 2, and 3 of Ms. Smith, marked for identification, placed in the record as exhibit number 21.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Smith, did you also prepare or cause to be prepared 7 pages of pre-filed settlement testimony that were filed with the commission in this proceeding?
Yes.
Do you have any changes to that testimony at this time?
I do not.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would ask that Ms. Smith's pre-filed settlement testimony be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed settlement testimony of Ms. Smith shall be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Smith, would you please provide a summary of your pre-filed testimony this time?
Sure. Good morning, Chair Powers, Vice Chair Williams, and members of the Commission. In my rebuttal testimony, I provided context for evaluating certain recommendations by the ORS. However, I am pleased to note that those issues have now been resolved through the 3 stipulations reached in this case: the revenue requirement stipulation, the large load stipulation, and the EEDSM stipulation. In my settlement testimony, I explained that the 3 stipulations reflect extensive negotiation and meaningful compromise across a wide range of complex issues. I note that the parties to this proceeding hold strong views on important issues, but we were still able to come to the table and work to present a just and reasonable resolution of those issues in this proceeding. The company agreed to including an overall reduction in the company's revenue requirement, adjusted recovery of certain costs, withdrawal of its proposed increase to the basic customer charge for residential customers, and the implementation of 2 new riders, the PTC rider and the CARE rider, to mitigate rate impacts for customers. After following the public hearings held over the recent weeks, I believe these features of the agreements reached in these dockets address many of the concerns we heard from participants in those hearings. Through provisions like these, I note that these stipulations reflect a fair and constructed balance, addressing customer rate impacts while preserving the company's ability to continue making necessary investments for the benefit of customers and the state. As I noted in my settlement testimony, the Commission's settlement policies and procedures expressly favor compromise and encourage the use of stipulations to resolve contested matters. I point out in my settlement testimony that South Carolina policy in general is supportive of settlement and that finding agreement and resolving disputes help ensure efficiency and judicial economy for the regulatory process. I believe these principles provide strong support for Commission approval of the stipulations in this case. That concludes a summary of my testimony.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Mr. Chair, Ms. Smith is now available for your questions.
Thank you very much. Any commissioner questions? Ms. Smith, I believe you got lucky.
All right, I'll take it.
Thank you very much.
Respectfully, Mr. Chair, I would ask that Ms. Smith be excused from the witness stand.
Certainly.
Thank you, sir. That concludes the company's case.
All right. We've got quite a list of other testimony to be put in. I think now would be a time to go ahead and do that. And we'll just start with the company. I hope we have a similar list so we don't jump around, but let's give it a shot.
Yes, Chair, we do. And so the company is more than happy to start working through that as we speak. All right, Chair. And so I will begin on my list with Ms. Laura Bateman. Ms. Laura Bateman filed rebuttal testimony on October 27th, 2025, consisting of 15 pages, no exhibits.
All right. The rebuttal testimony of Laura Bateman is placed in the records if given orally from the stand.
Thank you, Chair. Next on my list is Mr. Tim Hill. Mr. Hill filed direct testimony on July 1st, 2025, consisting of 21 pages and direct exhibits 1 through 7.
All right. Mr. Tim Hill's direct testimony will be placed in the records if given orally from the stand. The pre-filed exhibits identified as 1 through 7 of Mr. Hill will be identified and placed in the record as exhibit number 22.
Thank you, Chair. Next on my list is Mr. Stephen Capps. Mr. Capps filed direct testimony consisting of 22 pages on July 1st, 2025, as well as rebuttal testimony on October 27, 2025, consisting of 13 pages. Neither his direct or rebuttal had exhibits.
The direct and rebuttal testimony will be placed in the records if given orally from the stand.
Thank you, sir. Next on my list is Mr. Paul Fisk. Mr. Fisk filed direct testimony on July 1st, 2025, consisting of 17 pages, and rebuttal testimony on October 27th, 2025, consisting of 9 pages. No exhibits.
The direct and rebuttal testimony of Mr. Fisk will be placed in the records if given orally from the stand.
Next on my list is Mr. Brent Guyton. Mr. Guyton filed direct testimony consisting of 23 pages and Guyton direct exhibits 1 through 4, as well as rebuttal testimony consisting of 22 pages, no exhibits.
The direct and rebuttal testimony of Mr. Guyton will be placed in the records if given orally from the stand. The direct exhibits Mr. Guyton identified as exhibits 1 through 4 are marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 23.
Thank you. Next on my list is Mr. Bennett Fogg. Mr. Fogg filed direct testimony consisting of 16 pages and FOG Direct Exhibit 1. He also filed rebuttal testimony consisting of 9 pages, no exhibits.
The direct and rebuttal testimony in Mr. Fogg will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The exhibit of Mr. Fogg, identified as Fogg Exhibit 1, is marked for identification, placed in the record as exhibit number 24.
Next on my list is Ms. Janice Hager. Ms. Hager filed direct testimony consisting of 23 pages, as well as Hager Direct Exhibit 1. She also filed rebuttal testimony consisting of 23 pages, no exhibits.
The direct and rebuttal testimony of Ms. Hager will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The exhibit of Ms. Hager, identified as exhibit number 1, will be identified, marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 25.
Next on my list is Mr. Nicholas Spiros. Mr. Spiros filed direct testimony consisting of 12 pages, as well as Spiros Direct Exhibits 1 through 3. He also filed rebuttal testimony consisting of 12 pages, no exhibits.
The direct and rebuttal testimony of Mr. Spiros will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The direct exhibits of Mr. Spiros, identified as exhibits 1 through 3, are marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 26.
Next on my list is Ms. Shannon Caldwell. Ms. Caldwell filed direct testimony consisting of 29 pages, as well as Caldwell Direct Exhibits 1 through 2. She also filed rebuttal testimony consisting of 34 pages, as well as Caldwell Rebuttal Exhibit 1.
The direct and rebuttal testimony of Ms. Caldwell will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The direct exhibit of Ms. Caldwell, identified as exhibits 1 through 2, will be marked as exhibit number 27. The rebuttal exhibit of Ms. Caldwell was marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 28.
Next on my list is Ms. Taryn Tabucci. Ms. Tabucci filed direct testimony consisting of 14 pages, as well as Tabucci Direct Exhibits 1 through 2.
The direct testimony of Ms. Tabucci will be placed in the records if given orally from the stand, and the exhibits of Ms. Tabucci, identified as exhibits 1 through 2, are marked for identification and placed in the records exhibit number 29.
Next on my list is Mr. John Taylor. Mr. Taylor filed rebuttal testimony consisting of 40 pages, as well as Taylor Rebuttal Exhibit 1.
All right. The rebuttal testimony of Mr. Taylor will be placed in the records if given orally from the stand. The settlement exhibits of Mr. Taylor, identified as Rebuttal Exhibit 1, will be marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 30.
Thank you, Chair. And last on my list is Mr. David Wathen. Mr. Wathen filed rebuttal testimony consisting of 22 pages, as well as Wathen Rebuttal Exhibits 1 through 5.
The rebuttal testimony of Mr. David Wathen will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The rebuttal exhibits of Mr. Wathen, identified as exhibits 1 through 5, are marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 31.
Thank you, Chair. That concludes the company's pre-filed testimony and exhibits.
Thank you very much. We'll now go to the Department of Consumer Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start with Aaron Rothschild. And first, I would like to thank the Commission for granting his motion to be excused. But he did pre-file 139 pages of direct testimony on October 6, 2025. And that testimony included appendices A through G. His direct testimony also included 18 pages of exhibits labeled ALR1 through ALR5.
All right, the direct testimony of Mr. Aaron Rothschild will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The direct exhibits marked as ALR 1 through 5 are marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 32.
Thank you. And Mr. Rothschild also filed 42 pages of surrebuttal testimony on November 3rd, 2025. It did not include any exhibits.
The surrebuttal testimony of Mr. Rothschild will be placed in the record as if given from the stand.
The department's other witness is Michael Dupree. He filed 74 pages of direct testimony that included an Appendix A on October 6th, 2025.
All right, the direct testimony of Mr. Michael Dupree will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand.
Mr. Dupree's direct testimony also included 15 pages of exhibits labeled MWD1 through MWD11.
The exhibits of Mr. Dupree identified as MWD 1 through 11 are marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 33.
Mr. Dupree also filed 18 pages of surrebuttal testimony on November 3rd, 2025 that included 4 pages of exhibits labeled MWD1 SR through MWD3 SR.
All right, the surrebuttal testimony of Mr. Dupree will be entered the record as given orally from the stand. The surrebuttal exhibits marked as MWD 1 through 3.
Yes, sir.
Are placed in the record as exhibit number 33.
Thank you.
34.
That's our only witnesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. South Carolina Coastal Conservation League, Southern Alliance for Clean Energy, Upstate Forever, and Vote Solar.
Yes, thank you, Chair Powers. We have three witnesses, starting with witness John Wilson. Witness Wilson pre-filed confidential direct testimony consisting of 59 pages, along with 2 direct exhibits marked as Exhibit JW1, which is public, and confidential Exhibit JW2.
All right, the direct testimony of Mr. Wilson will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The direct exhibits of Mr. Wilson identified as JW1 and also JW2, which has public and confidential versions, will be placed in the record as exhibit number 35. The confidential version shall remain confidential until it is not necessary.
Right. Thank you. And Mr. Wilson also had 18 pages of surrebuttal testimony with no exhibits.
Surrebuttal testimony of Mr. Wilson will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you. Turning to witness Albert Lynn, we pre-filed direct testimony from Mr. Lynn consisting of 38 pages along with 1 direct exhibit, AL1, and we filed a corrected version of Mr. Lynn's direct testimony on October 28th. That version also included exhibit AL1.
The direct testimony and corrected direct testimony, which was filed, will be entered the record as if given orally from the stand. The direct exhibit AL1 and the corrected version of AL1 is marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 36.
Thank you. Witness Lynn also had 21 pages of surrebuttal testimony with no exhibits.
The surrebuttal testimony of Mr. Lynn will be marked for identification, placed in the record.
Thank you. And lastly, witness Jake Duncan, he pre-filed direct testimony consisting of 50 pages along with 2 direct exhibits marked as JD1 and JD2.
All right, the direct testimony of Mr. Duncan will be entered in the record as if given orally from the stand. The direct exhibits identified as RN1 through 2 marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 37.
Okay. And I'll take his surrebuttal and settlement testimony together here. Witness Duncan also had 11 pages of surrebuttal testimony with no exhibits and 4 pages of settlement testimony also with no exhibits.
All right, the surrebuttal and settlement testimony of Mr. Duncan will be entered in the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you, Chair Powers. That concludes our case.
All right, the Business Chamber of Commerce has no witnesses. South Carolina energy users.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We filed the direct testimony of Jeffrey Pollock on October 6th, 53 pages of testimony with 4 exhibits. And we also filed the direct testimony of Billy LeConte on October 6th with 38 pages and 5 exhibits.
All right, the direct testimony of Jeffrey Pollock will be entered in the record as if given orally from the stand. The direct exhibits, along with appendices, will be marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 38.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask for clarification? I had and this may be my error, I had that Mr. Pollock had 6 exhibits.
I do too.
It must be my mistake, Mr. Chairman.
Well, how about just all of his exhibits?
All of his exhibits. How's that?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Belser.
All right, and now as to Mr. LeConte, direct testimony of Mr. LeConte will be entered in the record as if given orally from the stand. The appendices A and B attached to his testimony will be marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 39.
And we have Sir rebuttal that was filed on November 3rd. Mr. Pollock filed 15 pages of Sir rebuttal testimony, and I have no exhibits in my notes. And Ms. LeConte filed 8 pages with no exhibits as well.
All right, the Sir rebuttal testimony of Mr. Pollock will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The Sir rebuttal testimony of Mr. LeConte will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. Also, the direct exhibits BSL 1 through 5 will be made part of exhibit number 39, which I mentioned as his appendices.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right. Sierra Club.
Mr. Chairman, let's see if Mr. Berman is with us remote. If not, I'll attempt to.
Chair Powers, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Berman.
All right. Yep, Josh Berman with the Sierra Club. Sierra Club had submitted testimony of one witness, Ron Nelson. Mr. Nelson submitted direct testimony in both public and confidential versions consisting of 87 pages. That was filed on October 6th. We would respectfully ask that that be entered into the record.
All right. The direct testimony of Mr. Nelson will be entered in the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you. And Mr. Nelson's direct testimony included 2 exhibits, both of it for public. They were designated RN1 and RN2. We would also request that those be included in the record.
All right. The direct exhibits of Mr. Nelson identified as RM1 and 2, both are marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 40.
Thank you, Chair Powers. Mr. Nelson also submitted Sir rebuttal testimony. He actually submitted both Sir rebuttal and corrected Sir rebuttal. I think for our purposes, we only need to enter the corrected Sir rebuttal testimony, which consisted of 19 pages and was filed on November 7th.
All right. The corrected rebuttal testimony of Mr. Nelson will be entered in the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you, Chair Powers. There were no exhibits to that, and we plan to file the verification for all of Mr. Nelson's testimony tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Walmart.
Walmart filed the direct testimony of Lisa V. Perry on October 6, 2025, consisting of 34 pages. And with Ms. Perry's testimony, we filed exhibits LVP 1 through LVP 6, and we did not file any Sir rebuttals. So we would ask that Ms. Perry's testimony be entered into the record as though read, and her testimony exhibits LVP 1 through 6 LVP 1 through 6 be admitted as the next composite hearing exhibit.
The direct testimony of Lisa Perry will be entered in the record as if given orally from the stand. The direct exhibits of Ms. Perry marked as LVP 1 through 6 are marked for identification and placed in the record as Exhibit 41.
Thank you. And we filed Ms. Perry's verification for her testimony and exhibits on November 14th, 2025.
Thank you very much. All right, Office of Regulatory Staff.
Chair Powers, ORS calls Michael Seaman Wynn to the stand.
If you'll raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Seaman Wynn. Please state your name and your occupation for the record.
My name is Michael Seaman Wynn. I'm employed by the Office of Regulatory Staff as the Deputy Director of Energy Operations.
Mr. Seaman Wynn, did you cause to be prepared did you cause to be pre-filed in this docket 15 pages of direct testimony on October 6, 2025?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or corrections to your pre-filed direct testimony?
No, I do not.
And if I were to ask you the same questions as those posing your pre-filed direct testimony today, would your answers be the same?
Yes, they would.
Chair Powers, ORS asks that the pre-filed direct testimony of Mr. Seaman Wynn be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed direct testimony of Mr. Seaman Wynn will be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
And Mr. Seaman Wynn, with your pre-filed direct testimony, did you also pre-file 3 exhibits marked as exhibits MSH 1 through 3?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or corrections to your pre-filed direct exhibits?
No, I do not.
Chair Powers, ORS asks that Mr. Seaman Wynn exhibits MSH 1 through 3 be entered into the record as the next composite hearing exhibit.
The direct exhibits of Mr. Seaman Wynn, MSH 1 through 3, are marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 42.
Mr. Seaman Wynn, did you cause to be prepared and pre-filed in this docket 7 pages of rebuttal testimony on November 3rd, 2025?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any changes or corrections to your rebuttal testimony?
No, I do not.
And if I were to ask you the same questions as those posing your pre-filed rebuttal testimony today, would your answers be the same?
Yes, yes, they would.
Chair Powers, ORS asks that the pre-filed rebuttal testimony of Mr. Seaman Wynn be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
The pre-filed rebuttal testimony of Mr. Seaman Wynn will be entered into the record as if given orally from the stand.
And Mr. Seaman Wynn, with your pre-filed rebuttal testimony, did you also pre-file 3 rebuttal exhibits marked as rebuttal exhibits MSH 1 through 3?
Yes, I did.
Do you have any changes or corrections to those exhibits?
No, I do not.
Chair Powers, ORS moved that Mr. Seaman Wynn's exhibits marked as rebuttal exhibits MSH 1 through 3 be entered into the record as the next composite hearing exhibit.
The rebuttal exhibits of Mr. Seaman Wynn are marked for identification, entered the record as exhibit number 43.
Thank you. Mr. Seaman Wynn, are you aware that no party to this matter objected to the revenue requirement stipulation?
Yes.
Did you review the revenue requirement stipulation?
Yes, I did.
Does ORS support commission approval of the revenue requirement stipulation?
Yes.
Thank you. Chair Powers, this witness is available for commission questions.
Thank you very much. Commissioner questions?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Castle.
I had a question, but it just got asked and answered, and I think he's the only one keeping everyone from lunch, so I have nothing else.
Any further commissioner questions? All right, hearing none. That's it. Ms. Rainey, we need to go over your list now and put everything in evidence if we could.
So from my list, the first ORS witness I have is Richard A. Baldino. Witness Baldino pre-filed 51 pages of direct testimony. And he also pre-filed with his direct testimony exhibits RAB-1 through 4.
All right. The direct testimony of Mr. Presino will be placed in the records if given from the stand.
That was Baldino.
Baldino, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Looking at Mr. Baldino's direct testimony will be placed in the records as if given from the stand. The direct exhibits of Mr. Baldino, RAB 1 through 4, are marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 44.
Thank you. And he also pre-filed 16 pages of Sir rebuttal testimony. And with his Sir rebuttal testimony, he had Sir rebuttal exhibits RAB 1 through 3.
All right. The Sir rebuttal testimony of Mr. Baldino will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. Sir rebuttal exhibits identified as RAB 1 through 3 are marked for identification, placed in the record as exhibit number 45.
Next witness, Brandon S. Bickley, pre-filed 35 pages of direct testimony in both confidential and public versions. He also pre-filed exhibits BSB 1 through BSB 3.
All right. The pre-filed direct testimony, Brandon Bickley, will be is marked. Pre-filed direct testimony is placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. It's my understanding that testimony had public and confidential versions.
Correct.
And the confidential version shall remain protected until no longer necessary.
Okay, thank you. He also pre-filed Sir rebuttal testimony of 7 pages and no exhibits.
All right. The Sir rebuttal testimony will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The direct exhibits marked as BSB 1 through 3 of Mr. Bickley are marked for identification, placed in the record as exhibit number 46.
Thank you. Mr. Anthony Brazino, he pre-filed 19 pages of direct testimony, and he also pre-filed 4 pages of Sir rebuttal testimony, no exhibits.
All right. The testimony of Mr. Brazino will be placed, the direct testimony will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The exhibits marked as, did you say 1?
No exhibits.
No exhibits. All right.
And then he pre-filed 4 pages of Sir rebuttal testimony,
The
no
Sir
exhibits.
rebuttal testimony of Mr. Brazino will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand.
Next, we have John Childs. Mr. Childs pre-filed 39 pages of direct testimony, both in confidential and public versions. And he also pre-filed exhibits JWC 1-1 and JWC-2.
Right. The pre-filed direct testimony, Mr. John Child, will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The confidential version of his testimony will be protected by statute and remain confidential until no longer necessary. It's my understanding the exhibits are not identified as confidential. They'll be placed in the record. The JWC 1 and 2 are marked for identification and placed in the record as Exhibit 47.
Next, we have Donald Shane Hyatt, who pre-filed direct testimony of 9 pages and 1 exhibit DSH-1.
The direct testimony of Donald Shane Hyatt is placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The direct exhibit, DSH-1, is marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 48.
Next, we have Lane Collin. Mr. Collin pre-filed direct testimony, 29 pages of direct testimony. He also had exhibits LK-1 and LK-2.
All right. The direct testimony of Mr. Collin will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The direct exhibits identified as LK1 and 2 are marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 49.
Mr. Collin also pre-files 23 pages of Sir rebuttal, no exhibits.
Sir rebuttal testimony, Mr. Collin, be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand.
Next, Mr. Kelvin Major pre-filed 14 pages of direct testimony, and with his pre-filed direct testimony, he pre-filed exhibits KLM 1 through KLM 7.
Direct testimony, Mr. Major, will be placed in the records as given orally from the stand. The direct exhibits KLM 1 through 7 is marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 50.
Mr. Major also pre-filed 4 pages of Sir rebuttal testimony, and with that testimony, he pre-filed Sir rebuttal exhibits KLM-1 through KLM-7.
Sir rebuttal testimony of Mr. Major, of Mr. Major, Sir rebuttal testimony is placed in the records as given orally from the stand. The Sir rebuttal exhibits KLM 1 through 7 marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 51.
Next, we have Mr. J. Finley Salter. He pre-filed 14 pages of direct testimony that were filed in both public and confidential versions.
And no exhibits.
Correct.
All right. The pre-file direct testimony, both public and confidential, will be placed in the record as given orally from the stand. The confidential version of this testimony will be protected and remain confidential as long as necessary.
Mr. Salter also pre-filed 5 pages of Sir rebuttal testimony, no exhibits.
The 5 pages of Sir rebuttal testimony, Mr. Sullivan, be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand.
Next, we have Mr. Daniel Sullivan. Mr. Sullivan pre-filed 46 pages of direct testimony in both public and confidential versions.
The pre-filed direct testimony of Daniel Sullivan will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand. The confidential version shall remain confidential as long as necessary.
And with his testimony, he pre-filed 1 exhibit DFS-1 that I believe will be in both confidential and public versions.
All right. The direct exhibit of Mr. Sullivan, DFS-1, both public and confidential, is marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 52. The confidential version shall remain confidential as long as necessary.
Thank you. He also pre-filed 8 pages of Sir rebuttal testimony that were both confidential and public versions, no exhibits.
So rebuttal testimony of Mr. Sullivan placed in the records as given orally from the stand. The confidential version of that testimony shall remain confidential as long as legally necessary.
And last but not least, we have Mr. Omari Thompson. Mr. Thompson pre-filed 6 pages of direct testimony and 1 exhibit with his direct testimony marked as exhibit ORT-1.
The direct testimony of Mr. Omari Thompson will be placed in the records as given orally from the stand. The direct exhibit identified as ORT-1 will be marked for identification and placed in the record as exhibit number 53.
And Mr. Thompson also pre-filed 5 pages of Sir rebuttal testimony with no exhibits.
The 5 pages of Sir rebuttal testimony of Mr. Thompson will be placed in the record as if given orally from the stand.
Thank you, Chair Powers. That concludes Oris's case.
Thank you. All right. Is there anything further from any party?
Chair Powers?
Mr. Williams.
I just wanted to add, as you were taking the parties through the testimony and the exhibits, the vastness of what everybody has done in this hearing and many other hearings just really comes home as I think about the complexity of what was presented, the evaluations, that each of you were a part of. I'm just really impressed, and I can imagine that Commissioner Powers wouldn't have the ability to say very much after all of that, overseeing all of the admission of testimony and exhibits. So I just wanted to add that.
Have you ever seen when a lawyer couldn't find something to say? Now, thank you all. I express the same thing, Mr. Robinson. We had the same names, but a different order. So, yeah, I'm out of stuff to say. Thank you all very much for your hard work, and enjoy the rest of your day.